Guten Tag, Lab. This is Mr. Liniger. Let's make history today as we go over Unit 2, Day 10. And let's get started with our daily punishment. My sister bet that I couldn't build a car made out of spaghetti. And then I drove pasta. Pasta. Past her. Key terms for today: Ottoman Empire, Safavid Empire, Mughal Empire, Osman the Great, Mehmed the Great, Askari, Raya, Timar system, Suleiman the Magnificent, Gulem, and the Millet System. We're going to go over the characteristics of the Ottoman Empire, Safavid and Mughal Empire. We're going to talk about their similarities and differences, their religious policies, and some of the reasons they fell. So let's talk a little bit about some generalizations about the gunpowder empires, the Ottoman, Safavid, and Mughals. They were all Islamic. They were all military creations. They were all created by Turkish nomads, all ethnically Turks. They were all called gunpowder empires because they used guns. They were critical in their rise. They used muskets. They got the muskets from Europeans through trade. They're all Turkish, ethnically from the steppes. Two were Shia. The Safavid and Mughal were Shia. The Ottomans were Sunni. They were all autocratic, all absolute monarchies. They all had problems with royal succession. They all had harem politics, where the emperor would have a harem of his concubines who would try to poison their children's rival siblings. They all had eunuchs. Let's start off with the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire was created by Osman the Great. The Ottoman Empire is going to become one of the dominant powers in Western Europe / Asia when Mehmed the Great conquers Constantinople in 1453 and he destroys the Byzantine Empire. The heart of the Ottoman Empire will be in Anatolia, which is Turkey, former Byzantine land. Let's talk about some of their social classes. There was 4 social classes within the cities of the Ottoman Empire. There was the men of the Pid. The men of the Pid were judges, imams, intellectuals. These are the people that will become the bureaucrats under Suleiman the Magnificent. Men of the sword, which is the military. Men of negotiations, which are merchants. Men of husbandry, which are farmers, pastoralists, livestock raisers. In the frontier, the social classes will be less structured, and they'll just be really 2. There's the askari, the military, and the raya, the subjects. In the early days of the Ottoman Empire, it was possible for the raya to cross over and become the military, the askari. Over time, the separation between the askari and the raya became more rigid. Women will have no rights aside from tradition, class, and husband's wishes. Women will lose rights throughout this time because of parts like the hadith, even though originally in Islam, women were very well respected. And in the Quran, there were a lot of positive things for women. But over time, in these societies, women are not going to have a lot of rights. Let's talk about one of their economic systems. This is called the Timar system. The Timar system is economic feudalism. The askari are going to be given a share of the agricultural taxes of a designated region for protection. They'll be exempted from taxation. This will gradually become hereditary. It's not the same as feudalism. It's different from feudalism is that the askari do not share power with the sultan. It's not political. They don't dispense justice. It is just like the economic aspect where they're given fiefs. In the Ottoman Empire, the central government was active and crucial. It's more like the Japanese shogunate fief system. So it's more similar to the Japanese feudal fief system than the European one. Let's talk about some of their slavery. A ghulam was a slave. Ghulams will be educated and trained for service. The Ottomans will modify the ghulam system by the infamous diversime. This is how they would capture young Christian white boys between the ages of 8 and 15. They're brought before the Sultan. The best of them will be converted to Islam. They'll become eunuchs, so they get their genitals cut off, and they join the government. Those not selected for palace school will convert to Islam still. They become rural Turkish farmers. And some of the really athletic ones will become the Sultan's elite infantry, the Janissaries. The Janissaries are the shock troops of the Ottoman Empire. They're the ones that fire the muskets. They're the elite soldiers of the Ottoman Empire. And they are the ones that they fire the muskets. They have like a proto version of grenades. They're pretty awesome. The Ottomans will capture and enslave a lot of white children during this time. A lot of people from Eastern Europe called Slavs. The word slave actually comes from Slavs, which is super ironic. Let's talk about my boy Suleiman the Magnificent. The Ottoman Empire will be under its height under Suleiman. He'll reign from 1520 to 1566. His mother was Christian. He's going to come through power through murdering his brothers. He'll conquer land in Europe, Asia, and Africa. He'll conquer Syria, the Holy Land in Egypt, Hungary, Croatia, and Romania. He'll get all the way to Vienna in Austria, and he'll be stopped in 1529. He'll build a powerful navy, and he'll rule the Mediterranean. He's going to encourage the development of the arts. He's going to beautify Constantinople with mosques. After he dies, the Ottoman Empire will go through a slow, gradual decline, even though it will last until 1919. Lastly, let's talk about the Millet System. The Millet System is the religious system under the Ottoman Empire. What the Ottomans did is the Ottomans had a lot of religious minorities. There was a lot of Jews and a lot of Orthodox Christians in the Ottoman Empire. So the Ottomans would grant them moderate tolerance. And what the Millet System is it basically allowed the religious minorities to govern themselves. They could appoint their own religious dignitary. So like the Jews could appoint a chief rabbi. The Orthodox could appoint a chief patriarch. The head of the Millet, or religious minority, was responsible to the Sultan. He would advise the Sultan on religious affairs. He would be the one that would collect taxes, education. He would provide marriages, divorces, inheritances. And if that religious minority rebelled, he would be the one that would be punished by the Sultan. The Muslims had no Millet. They were the religious majority. They were ruled by the Quran, Sharia law, the ulama. But you see here, especially if you compare to like societies in Western Europe and other areas, the Ottomans were pretty tolerant for religious minorities. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. Until next time, deuces, deuces, yeah.